Hello, world. Welcome back to another episode of the Silent Conversations podcast. It's your brother, Silent Sound, and we tapped in with another episode, another great guest we have in. We got my brother, Trey, in the building. We're always improving minds, man. What's going on with you, brother?
Yes, man. Love, bro. First and foremost, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
I can't appreciate it more. You're a very articulate brother, man.
Thank you.
I love the way that you put your words together and the questions that you present to open the mind. So I'm excited about what's going to go on. And just to let y'all know, I don't know what's to come. So whatever y'all get, this is the real. It's raw. So there was no preparation. So I'm loving it. So let's see where this heads.
And that's the beauty of it. I think, like I said, this is Silent Conversations. You feel what I'm saying? This is not here to be an interview. I'm not here to interrogate you. I'm here to educate the people. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Not just on what you do and what I do, but more so just on educating each other on how it is to communicate and how to build on thought and how to discern between what is just information being thrown at you and what's beneficial knowledge that you can take. And if you take that knowledge and put it to application, you can gain some understanding. So that's what we hear Silent Conversations to do. You know what I mean? That's what we tapped in. So like I said, I'm glad you came. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate the words as well, brother. So let's just kind of tap in, man. So just the way I kind of start these conversations off, first I definitely want to talk about self-development. So everybody goes through some type of cycle of growth. We're humans. We're a living creature. We're a living thing. So we're going to grow regardless of that's relatively how you may describe as good or bad. We're going to grow in some type of direction, whether we try it or not.
Right.
There's plants that grow with no sunlight.
Absolutely.
There's plants that thrive with sunlight. You know what I mean? So it's just about, each other has our own levels of things that we have to go through. So for you, I guess the first question I would ask you just to kind of build on, when did it start for you as far as when you decided I'm going to intentionally start developing myself to get better?
Awesome question. That's what I'm talking about. See, intentionally, it was in 2015.
Okay.
In 2015, I already had my woman. We already in an apartment, so I'm living, freely on my own. I was working, was making pretty decent money for however I was at the time. I think I was 25. But we was living below our means, and we was trying to save, but it didn't have a goal, and all this type of stuff. I was trying to do what I was taught and shown that this is what you're supposed to do.
Correct.
But that left me with being too humble. And what I mean by that is you want to be humble, but you want to stay hungry. You want to be so humble and grateful for what you got that you never go for anything else.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I didn't want to settle. I stopped settling. And in 2015 was the deciding factor because we at the library now, and I love the libraries, but it was limited for me. I didn't have cable, Wi-Fi, internet, none of that. And the more I was doing, the more I was getting into, the more I wanted to learn, the more I wanted to know, the more I needed internet, the more I needed these resources. And it was cool that I could come here every now and then, but like I said, it was limited. And I don't like restriction.
Right.
If I wanted, I wanted. I stopped settling. I was like, it don't make no sense that I only can use Wi-Fi at this location, and this location closes, so it's a time limit. So if I come across an ad on something that I want to look into, or if I say I want to look into, but I gotta wait till tomorrow because that's when they open, like I'm limited. I'm restricted. Correct. I gotta go within your time frame, and that's no control in that. So I was like, in 2015, I made the big decision to start making decisions.
Okay. Now, before we go to that particular journey, so from 2015 to now, you brought up 3 words though that I want to kind of build up. So the first word you brought up was humble. What does humble mean to you?
See, love these questions. I think you should have humility, and I think that just being humble just reminds you that you're human and you are a person, and you're not above no one else, You're not below anyone else. We all here. We all go through ups and downs. We all have emotions. We all have our vices. We all have our goods, our bads, our flaws, our weaknesses, our strengths. So not one other person is better than the other, no matter how much the outward success or the outcome may seem. It's not finite. So when it comes to being humble, it's just remind yourself that you're not better than nobody else and nobody's better than you. That's what I see as being humble.
Right.
But when people use humble, like stay humble, it usually is in a sense of be grateful. And I'm grateful for what I have, but that doesn't mean that this is all that I'm supposed to have. If you know that you're destined for greatness, what does that greatness look like to you?
Right.
And you determine your destiny.
Right.
So be humble, but stay hungry. Go for what it is that you want. Go for what it is that you want. It's for you, and it's for you to achieve, for you to acquire, and it's for you to put a goal behind it and make some action towards it.
Right.
One thing that I learned within all of these years is, where does happiness reside? The happiness resides in the progress. So you're always going to be happy when you can see that you're making intentional progress towards a goal. That's why having goals is so substantial. Even if it's just as small as I'm chilling this weekend. If that's your goal, make it happen. Because regardless of how big or small the goal is, you're still going to go through tribulations.
Absolutely.
You're still going to go through the challenges just to make it happen.
Right.
So be humble in the sense of knowing, like being grounded in the fact that no one's better than you and you're not better than anyone else. But don't be so humble that you stop trying, stop going for whatever it is that you want, and make justifications and excuses as to why you don't have.
That's deep. That's deep. That was a great way to break that down. Not to go deep on that, because I want to touch on those other two words too.
Yeah.
But when you look at the words humble, you look at the word hunger, because you bring that up as well. Then you look at the word human. So when you talk about humble, and what I'm getting from what you're saying is that you keep yourself humble means keeping yourself human.
Right.
Remember that you're human. You gotta feel. Sometimes you could be up, but sometimes you might gotta put yourself in a position to feel like you're down, just so you can feel like you're human. It doesn't mean that you need to suppress yourself around individuals, but it does mean that you have to check yourself. Because we talked about this on the episode with Paul. Sometimes you got to check yourself. That's one thing he brought up. He's like, it's nothing wrong with being your best cheerleader.
Right.
But you also got to be your worst critic too. You got to be your best heckler. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to tell yourself, hey, you still walking around with your 2 feet. You still got to put your pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. So you're human. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's that common thread that I like to look at as well. So that second word that you brought up was settling. Because there's that particular word to me resonated, because there's different ways to look at the word settling, right? When you look at when you discover a land, you settle there, right? So that in a way is a good thing. You found something that may have seemed to you beneficial, or something that you thrived at, so you settled on that. Or some people say, I'm going to settle on the good side, or I'm going to settle with peace. When you make peace treaties, you settle an agreement, right?
Right.
But on the other side of settlement, you also are taking less than. Sometimes when you go to a civil dispute, or you may take it to court, you go through a settlement, meaning that you may have argued or contested for $100,000, but you took a settlement for $50,000, right? So that means you're taking less than. So for you, what does settlement mean when it comes to you? When you looked at, you said in 2015 you were tired of being settled with what you had. You're tired of being content with always running and scrapping and trying to do things. You didn't really have goals, but you had things you wanted to do, but you were aimlessly doing, and you were tired of settling with, this is all I got, right?
Right.
What did settlement really mean, or what does settling really mean to you when it comes to developing?
It meant that I kept compromising with self. It means that I was lying to myself, saying that this is good enough. What is good enough? What's good enough? Don't be good, right? Be great. Especially when you know you got greatness in you. So if you know that you deserve better, if
Right.
you know that you can do better, if you know that it's within you that you can bring out more, why stop?
Right.
Why shortstop yourself?
Right.
You're doing everybody else a disservice. Whatever you can create is going to benefit anybody else, and we are creators, right?
Right.
So why shortstop that? Why limit your capability? When you start to settle, that's what I saw it as. Like, I'm settling for this. As long as I got this, I'm good, and I'm content. I'm happy. I'm grateful. But what if I was in that position? What if I had the Wi-Fi? This is the example. What if I had the Wi-Fi right then and there? You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to wait till the next day. How much time am I wasting having to wait another 8 hours, 10 hours before they even open? And then I can't use nothing on holidays. I can't come in,
Yeah.
like, what if I got rid of that restriction? So I don't like to be restricted.
Right.
You know what I mean? In no type of means or way, don't restrict me, don't hold me. Like, if you walking in front of me and you stop and I'm still walking, I'm gonna continue walking. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
I don't want to be. I'm not. Don't stop me and don't expect me to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when it came to the selling it, when I saw it as selling it, I was lying to myself. I was lying to myself to try to justify where I'm at versus doing the inner work to bring out the outcome that I saw fit, that I felt, that I knew was there. I had my potential too great, and the greatest thing about potential is we all have it.
Absolutely.
Because everything that you search for outwardly is within.
Absolutely.
And nobody want to do the inner work to bring that outcome out.
That's and sometimes it could be the hardest thing to do because we've put so much on the inside.
Yes.
We just pack so much down on the inside that we don't want to open it up. So it is definitely it can be a traumatic thing for some individuals.
Yes.
It can be very uncomfortable.
Very
but we
uncomfortable.
do know that with discomfort comes ease, though. You don't get to the ease without the discomfort. There's nothing on this earth that isn't that's worth anything that didn't come through some discomfort. You want diamonds, you want gold, but you got to dig. You got to go through them. And even gold has to be burned and refined.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You got to get the impurities out of that. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Yes.
polish it. You got to go through some type of discomfort. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, the work is always paid off after you finish that because you come out with something shining, something valuable, something precious. And there's nothing more precious than your own growth.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that last word, which you kind of touched on it again, which is restriction. What would you say, we had that example that you brought up just as far as your ability or access to resources was restricted. But as far as, because we talked about inner work, what would you say your top 3 self-restrictions that you had on yourself that you knew you had to change in 2015?
Limited beliefs. My own perspective, overthinking. Because when you overthink, if you take the time to think on something, 9 times out of 10, you're only trying to think of the negative. That's why it's so important to act on a positive thought when you have it. Act on it immediately. Do something right away when you have the thought, because you're already excited. You already have the momentum. You already have the motivation. You already see the end goal, the vision, and that's why you're so excited about it. When you take time to think on it, you're only thinking of, well, what can go wrong? And that's an infinite loop. That's an infinite possibility. There's so many things that could go wrong versus this one outcome that you're actually excited about.
Absolutely.
So that I had overthinking, then that led to procrastination, then that led to doubt, and that led to believing that I'm not capable, I'm not able, and low confidence and low self-esteem. All of this stemmed
domino
from,
effect, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of this stemmed from just thinking too much.
Right.
And you only gonna get the results from the action. So it's amazing that you can think. Yes, everybody has that capability, but it isn't until you put some action behind them thoughts that you're going to get something tangible from it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, the limited beliefs, the doubt, all of that is packed in one. What would I say is another thing? What's another restriction?
Yeah, like I said, these are things that you put on yourself. You know what I mean?
I want to word this correctly, but at the same time, we here. So, being too selfless.
Okay.
Being too selfless.
Right.
Let me tap on that.
Yeah.
You got to get a little selfish with you. And what I mean by that is you got to prioritize self.
Absolutely.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So at that moment in time, I've always been generous. I learned it from my elders, and it's been passed down on to me to share and love. And I do these things unconditionally, subconsciously. It's automatic within me. Like I carry that. You know what I mean? That's the God in me. That's the power in me. That's definitely a strength of mine. But it could be a gift and a curse.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, who's looking out for you?
Right.
Who's going to do you the way you doing others?
Yeah.
So as much as, and this I had to learn this, as much as you give to others, you got to give to self. So I started rewarding myself. I started becoming my biggest cheerleader, as you mentioned. I started to become my biggest cheerleader because don't nobody see what's done in the dark.
Nope.
Don't nobody know your sacrifices. You know, you might have gave somebody your last dollar and they're not really appreciative of it. You know what I mean? You could be putting that out there. That could be a seed that you're sowing, knowing that it's going to come back, but it's not instant. So you're still hurting in the moment.
Right.
It's a sacrifice.
Right.
And you're the only one that got to deal with the repercussions
Absolutely.
of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of selfless stuff expecting a return, and it didn't come. And I'm like, okay, well, I had to take myself into accountability. Where is this coming from?
Right.
And if it's really selfless, if I'm doing something for somebody else, then why am I expecting a return from me? From outward, you know what I mean?
Correct.
So really, that was a negatively selfish move that I was doing, do something for somebody else in expectation of some type of return. Something gonna come to me.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I had to get aware of self. I had to become a little selfish. I had to give myself time. I had to sit in that corner with myself. And I had this from early on. This was a continuous thing. So like I really been teaching my guys this type of stuff. Is the strong man is one who is in control of his emotions, not the one who acts as if he doesn't have any. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I will always be selfless and give, and then I will feel empty, and then I will go into isolation and do the inner work. I would ask myself and be brutally honest the hard questions. Why do you feel this way? Why do you feel this way about whoever else? And what is it that you're really feeling? Why are you jealous of this individual? Why you feel as though you're not winning? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because then you can start to look back and look at all the stuff that you've been through. You've always made some type of progress, whether intentionally or not.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's your perspective. If you're not aware of it, if you can't see it, then you're not going to feel it.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
You can't process what you don't acknowledge. So it's always been within. Like it was a period where I was in high school. I was homeless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I wanted to blame everybody else and everything else, but I was like, okay, even if I do that, what's the result? I'm still going to be homeless. So in those moments I was alone, it was perfect. I resorted to music and poetry, and this was a means that I use now, writing it out. As you see, I got my pen and pad
Correct.
just ready.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
anytime.
At any time.
Yeah.
Because I know how important it is. It's vital, and I know how the mind works. I'll remember that. So I had to take myself into accountability. I had to take myself seriously. And I learned that people only will value you as much as you value yourself. So as much as I was doing, I was seeking validation. I wanted so bad for somebody to see all of what I was doing.
Correct.
I wanted so bad for somebody to appreciate me on the level I felt I should have been appreciated. And what I was doing so much. My group of guys, my gang, if you want to call it, my group of guys that I was with, they detached from me. I'm homeless. I have no home to go to. I got to work. I'm putting myself through night school. And I got to take care of the family, make sure that they got a roof over their head. I'm 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling 2 jobs, night school and school. You know what I'm saying? SOLs, graduation, all this. I got to do everything.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm making beats by myself. I felt good with that. I'm creating.
Right.
Never lose your imaginative power.
Facts.
So I'm making beats, I'm making music, I'm writing, I'm just getting it all out. And that was an outlet for me. And then I was able to reflect on that because I could visually see it. When you write it down, that's why it's so powerful. It's not just in your head. That's actually an actionable step.
Correct.
That you can now see, and it's easy, it's clear. You get clarity from that. You can see where your problem is. You can go back to it, and you take it out of the mind.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, this is what the real issue is.
Correct.
This is why I feel this way.
Right.
It's like, you'll be amazed. I started talking to myself. Kevin Gates said, all geniuses
talk
to themselves.
Right.
I started talking to myself outwardly because I had the space to do it. I'm in my lonely. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I started seeking solace. I found peace there.
Right.
I'm with me.
Right.
And I want me because that was my childhood trauma. Is I kept being shown that I'm not wanted. You know what I'm saying? That was my childhood trauma. It's like I keep getting picked last. People choosing not to be with me, choosing not to be around me. And it's always because I was a good guy. But what else? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so I do everything for you and that's not good enough. So I kept on having that repeated theme. And it was like, what is it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're going to have an episode on the FMF podcast about why nice guys finish last. We're going to tap on that.
And,
but,
No, you go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I to say,
let me stop the train.
I ain't want to. It's your show.
No. This is the thing, and I wanted to have you on here, and like I said, I'm glad I had Paul on here. I wanted to have you on here, and I'm definitely looking to work to have with Anthony as well, because for those who haven't listened to the episode with Paul, this is the M of FMF podcast.
Yes, sir.
This is something that, for one, I'm definitely happy to know these brothers, for one, because we need this. One of the things that I talked to Paul about is like community and building a community where we all can come together, and an individual who wants to begin the journey of self-development can walk in this door and find every level of development available to them, whether it's fitness, whether it's spirituality, whether it's mindset, whether it's finances, whether it's self-care, whether it's anything.
Yes.
What I envision in my mind is to be able to build these type of communities, get into opening schools of development that don't necessarily have an age limit, right?
Yes.
So for me personally, I look at what I would have wanted, right? Like me personally, I wasn't in organized sports. I played sports, I would go in gym and I would play at the courts and stuff like that after school, but I never played organized sports. But if I had a place that I can go to develop, because I do music as well. If I had a place that I can go and record myself and develop my craft, I would definitely go there before I went and just hung around the neighborhood, because I knew I can go here and I made somebody else that rap and they can rap on my beats, they can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That the way I look at it is that's what I would have wanted. So, and when I look at what we have in our community, especially in Virginia and Richmond specifically, I don't see it.
Come on, man.
I see opportunities where we can be there, but I don't see where we actually are there, and that's something that I want to be a part of. And I was so happy to be able to meet brothers like you, and Paul, and eventually I'm gonna meet Anthony as well, and be able to just build Robert Utley, just be able to meet brothers that are ambitious, for one, and then two, have a sense of community and want to build a community, even within their own small tribe, expanding that tribe and bringing these tribes together so that we can build a community of developers, of development. You know what I mean? So it's just beautiful to bring that up. But not to, we can go in all types of tangents, man. This is why this is Silent Conversations, man. You don't have, too many safe places where anybody can talk to anybody. It's not about what you look like. It's not about what you think. I mean, it's about what you think, but it's just because you may agree with me or disagree with me, I want to have the conversation because it's healthy.
Why do the differences got to bring us apart?
When that's what makes us similar.
That's what makes us, bro.
That's what makes us that, man.
Whoa, man.
And that takes me to really what we talked about before we kind of jumped on air, man, was what I wanted this thing to be about, because we talked about where you started to intentionally develop yourself. So take me down that journey of identifying who you really are, as you, if you've already identified it, or as you have come closer to knowing who that person truly is. What, take me down that journey of what it was like to identify or self-identify yourself,
Yes.
as who you are.
Man, that's a beautiful question, man. Because it's always a process and it's always progress within it. And it all stems from acknowledging. You have to have the awareness of self. Self-awareness is key. I and this is why I preach about getting in tune with your emotions, because otherwise we just lash out. How many of us are, considered to have anger issues and you got to be in anger management and stuff? As men, we lash out. But when we get to that breaking point, we lash out through anger. That's our resort. That's our go-to.
Correct.
It's like, I need somebody to feel me.
Right.
I'm not being understood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now I need to. You gonna feel me?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
literally.
You gonna feel exactly.
Right.
Like, that's usually our outlet, and it's like, it don't have to get there.
Correct.
What led up to this?
Correct.
And again, the self-awareness comes with asking yourself some hard questions and being brutally honest. So you have to talk to yourself. You have to talk to yourself outwardly, I would say, because in your mind, we have 100,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are negative. You know what I mean? So if you're always in your mind, you're always in the negative realm.
Correct.
You have to be able to pick that positive, or pick something that you want to improve on, and then put it outward that I want to improve on this. And you can do this with self. And I want to encourage people to let you know that reaching out for help is still self-improvement.
Absolutely.
So, because he who knows it all knows nothing, right?
Right.
And you can't do it all by yourself.
You cannot.
You can't do it all by yourself. That's why community is so important, because you don't know. They say a great man learns from his experiences, but a wise man learns from the experiences of others.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want to be great and wise.
Correct.
I learned just from having conversations, bro, silent conversations,
Yes.
is that you can take on somebody else's perspective. So many, it was like, I've been the troubled youth. I've been rebellious, and I didn't understand. You know what I mean? I've been the one, fighting and stuff. I'm a bigger guy, and I resorted to that. So I got known for fighting. I was a fighter. It doesn't matter. But that pushed people away when my goal was, I'm a lover.
Right.
I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. I can fight, but I only want to fight to defend.
Correct.
So I built up that skill, sure, but I don't want to push and repel people away. I want to bring you in. So I needed to harbor on the love aspect. That was the truth of my essence, is the love. You know what I mean? And the protection, the defense, that's the fighting. You know what I'm saying? And being able to stick it out with one another through love. The love is the foundation. So me just fighting didn't prove that. What's the problem here? Why is this happening? I would ask other people, why do you feel a certain way towards me? Be honest with me. I can handle it. You know what I'm saying? And I even did this, and I mentioned this somewhere else on a podcast, but this is a learning mindset.
Right.
Most people tell the truth when aggravated, annoyed, pushed to the edge, angry. That's when the truth come out. How many times it get to that point, it's like, fuck it, you know what? Fuck you, because this is how I feel.
Right.
Okay, so I will push somebody to that point for them to tell me the truth.
Right.
Because a lot of times what I have to do is I tell people, fuck my feelings. Excuse my language.
Yeah, you're fine.
Fuck my feelings. Just tell me what it is. Two things I don't like is, I don't like to be confused, and I don't like to be guilty. So I'm not going to do anything intentionally that I'm going to feel guilty of. And I love my enemies for the simple fact I know where you stand. Like, you're honest. Fuck me. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Right.
I know where you stand.
Absolutely.
If you could even tell me why, most of the people that claim that they can't stand me, it usually is, might be something. It might be some. Most mishaps stem from miscommunication.
Absolutely.
So it could have just been a small miscommunication somewhere. Most of the people that claim they couldn't stand me, and I stayed solid to myself, they all come around. And it's like, I was upset with you. Da, da, da. We could talk about it, and then it's like, like, you're a genuine person. You're a real person. And it's like, we could actually build. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's really no villainous intent.
Absolutely.
We just had a miscommunication somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're fine.
So I was like, self-awareness is key.
Absolutely.
Asking yourself the tough questions and being brutally honest, and then putting in the work to improve where you see fit, not with somebody else, but what you see fit. And if you're continuously going through the same problem, this is one of the ways that you can measure this. If you're continuously going through the same problem, especially if it's with different people, it's not the other people. You have to look at self. What is your part? What have you done? Why do people feel like they can? If multiple people, especially if they have no ties with each other, are giving you the same response, it's something that you're doing, something that you're allowing. I learned about boundaries. You got to set boundaries for yourself. Once you love yourself, it's certain things that you're not going to tolerate.
Absolutely.
I can't deal with toxicity. I don't do drama and gossip.
Correct.
As soon as it comes up, I walk away. What
Yeah.
you leaving for? Because that doesn't interest me.
No.
I had so many people want to bring the conversation to me. I'm like, that doesn't interest
At
me.
all.
Respectfully,
Yeah, for sure.
that doesn't interest me. Oh,
Right.
All right. If you want to take it some type of way, then what you gonna do? Misery loves company. You gonna go gossip to somebody else? You want to talk about me now? Thank you, because now I got your attention.
Free promotion.
Free promotion.
Right.
You can bring it to me. Bring it in circle.
Right.
I'm built for that.
Correct.
Come to me. I can either
Right.
What I learned is accept everything, expect nothing.
At all.
I don't expect you to accept me.
No.
I don't expect you to understand what I'm talking about.
Nope.
I don't expect you to grasp on to the message. I don't expect nothing. I accept you as you are. I don't expect you to improve or to be intentional with your growth. I don't expect you to do none of that. I don't expect you to love me. I love you.
Right.
I don't expect you to love me.
Correct.
You don't got to. Love is given. Trust is earned. But the love is given.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's deep. That's deep, brother. Hey, so, man, so much. You know what I mean? Shit, to unpack, my brother. Like, that was great. That was great how you brought that down. I mean, self-awareness is definitely key. Because, I mean, if you're not aware of yourself, then how can you get upset when someone tells you what they see?
What is disrespect?
You see what I'm saying? How can you say, "Oh, you disrespect me," but
What
you don't
is
even know who
disrespect?
you are to know what you deserve
What you
to be respected for?
What are you really feeling?
Right.
What was the disrespect aspect?
Right. When did they come in? When did they cross the line? You didn't even define the line. How did they know they crossed it? You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's a big thing to think about, and definitely what I wanted to talk today about was self-identity, being able to take self-inventory. A part of any business, really, you have to do data analysis. You have to look at the analytics and say, what happened this point, and then last year, where were we at last year, and let's see what was the. When you even in finances, when you're looking at a stock that you want to buy, you want to say, how has it been performing over the last 12 months? How has this been performing over the last 24 hours? What's going on?
Right.
You make decisions based off of the data.
Yes.
But if you don't have any data, then how can you make an educated decision, right?
Come on, man.
Same thing with development. If you're not looking at the data, if you're not taking a self-inventory and saying, hey, what's going on in my life?
Yeah.
Let me look at my friends. Let me look at my family. Let me look at my job. Let me look at my income. Let me look at my goals and my aspirations, my wants. What's going on? My demons. Yeah. I gotta look at all of these things and really look at the book. It's like they're taking an account and they say, well, you know what? Open the books up. Let me see what's going on. Right. You need to take that accountability to say, this is my life is my business. Right. People say, I don't want you in my business. But if you're not in your business, then who's running it? Right. So you have to take that self-inventory, right? So, and you brought up asking those brutally honest questions, and I kind of want to, of course, we're expounding and teaching right now, and it's beautiful. So, give me an example of a brutally honest question that someone should be asking themselves right now that don't know what they should do next.
The biggest one?
Yeah, give me one.
Why?
That purpose, huh?
The biggest one is why.
Yes.
And I tried to raise I did. Excuse me. I raised my brother on this. If you don't know why you're doing something, then why do it? You know what I mean? And that'll save you from, that was when he was in high school himself.
Yeah.
And he was getting in fights and all of this stuff. And I'm like, why? Why do you feel like, because of them? So you're going to jeopardize yourself because of them?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Like, what are you going to get from it? Why are you doing this? What's the image that you're portraying? What do you really want? You know what I mean? So the biggest question and the hardest question is why.
Right.
And that's what people run away from. That's what people are lacking the accountability from. It's because they don't want to reveal why they feel the way they feel. They don't want to own up to it themselves. I could admit when I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I can admit when I have a flaw.
Right.
I can admit when I'm wrong.
Right.
I can admit these types of things because I know me and I'm going to look at me and like you said, I'm going to take full accountability. This has been a whole journey for real. This year, I've been harboring on the accountability side of things. And I was like, it's such a lack of accountability, not just with you guys, but all around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody want to blame the next person for the breakups and the divorce, and let's look at the statistics. Everybody want to blame why we not coming together. It's everybody else, or we need a common demon. No, we need a common goal.
Right.
We don't have to have a common enemy. We can have a common goal, something to strive for.
Correct.
And there's such a large lack of accountability.
Yeah.
And that accountability always stems back to self. What did I do? Why did I do it? How could I do it? And like you said, you can't analyze the data that's not there.
Correct.
So if you don't take yourself into accountability, then there is nothing to process. There is nothing to learn, and therefore you will have a closed mindset. You will have a fixed mindset, and there's no growth there. You want to stay within your circle. You want to stay in your comfort zone. I get it. The comfort zone is a wonderful place, but nothing grows there. Nothing grows there. So if you want to do better, if you want more, if this is not the end of your life, which it isn't, because you have breath in your body, if you want to feel happiness, I mentioned earlier, the happiness is in the progress. If you're not progressing to anything, then you're going to feel like, why am I here? And that's going to be a question that you can't run away from.
At all.
You can't run away from. You're going to try so hard to be outward. That's what people do. Like, they can't go to the store by themselves. They want to be at a club or any type of social function. You just cannot have isolated time to self because you know that impeding question is going to come back up. You can't run from it. Why am I here? What is happening? What is happening? You're going to ask yourself this. You want to run away from it? Don't run.
Right.
It's going to be tough. You are your biggest challenge. It's going to be rough. But when you find some type of clarity, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's light, it's relieving, you get energized, you get focused, you have something to work towards, you get clarity, you'll love to be able to talk. You know, all these people that don't want to talk, you want to be introverted and isolated, it's because you, like you said, don't want nobody in your business, but you don't even know what your business is. Or you do know, and you know where you need to make an improvement, but you're running away from it. So you're prolonging and procrastinating your improvement. So all of it goes back to your accountability. It's in self.
For sure.
It is in self.
For sure.
So the hardest question is why.
Why? Right.
Why am I here?
Right.
Why do I feel the way I feel?
Right.
Why have I not done more? Why do I continue to procrastinate? Why am I limiting myself? Why am I still in this relationship that's not serving me?
Right.
Why am I, still entertaining things that I know don't benefit me? why don't I go for what I actually want? What do I actually want? You know, once you start asking why, the other questions will
Yeah,
follow.
automatically.
Automatically, they will follow.
Absolutely.
And it always, with me, I process my emotion. How do I do it? I ask myself, what am I feeling? Why do I feel it? What am I really feeling? What happened? Let me recount. You know what I'm saying? Let me recalculate. Let me reverse engineer this thing. What happened?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What are the things that led up to this feeling? It's usually a bulk of things, but them bulk of things stem in one area. It always goes to self. Why do I feel this way?
Right.
What significance do these events hold? You know what I mean? What is it? What's the message? What's the meaning in here that's really making me feel this way? What is it about money that's not making me happy? You know what I'm saying? What is it about love that I just have not grasped and it keeps on resurfacing? What are the problems that I keep facing?
Correct.
Why do I keep facing them? And if I can't get that answer to myself after a few times, I ask. I will ask, like, bro, I've asked people who have, the women that have broken up with me, why did you break up with me? Not that I'm trying to get back with you. I just want to know. You know, let me know.
That's how you improve.
It's how you improve.
That's how you improve.
And a lot of people not going to go to that extent, and I'm telling you don't have to. But what do you think surveys are?
Right.
Take a survey of your life. Take a survey of your life. Put it outwardly.
It gives you that data.
It gives you that data.
Right.
And where you can improve, what needs to be worked on.
Right.
And if you feel as though that's something that you need to work on. A lot of times, you can get the repeated data, and then when you analyze it, it's like, yo, that's not what it is. That's the result that I keep getting. But the reason why this result keeps coming is because I keep doing this, and I keep doing this because I believe this. It goes back to my beliefs.
Absolutely.
Or what I felt. Like I said, I've uncovered my childhood trauma, the want to be wanted, which led to me being a nice guy. What's a nice guy? I told you we're going to touch on this, but what's a nice guy? Super agreeable, do everything you want to do, and you already feel accomplished. Why you need me? You know what I'm saying? I'm a puppy that you could put in a cage.
Correct.
That's a nice guy. That's why the nice guy finished last.
Right.
So I'm not nice. I'm kind. I'm generous. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving.
Right.
I'm giving. But I'm not nice.
Right.
Because I'm my own person. When you're nice, you lose your identity.
Absolutely.
Trying to appease others to be accepted.
Right.
And what you mentioned, I heard it on one of your episodes, is that acceptance goes to who the image that you created, not who you are.
Absolutely.
So as soon as you start being you, or you have your own opinion, and then people let you go again, you're like, man, here we go again. But they accepted the image that you portrayed, not the person that you are.
Correct. That's self-identity. Because if you can't identify yourself, who will?
Who?
Anybody can call you anything. They can label you whatever they want to label you. But if you can't identify yourself, you will be literally led astray by anybody and what they think.
Oh, man.
Another thing, one thing I wanted to bring up too, just to talk about that data. One thing about having that data, if you don't, for one, if you're not literate in the data, then all of this is a foreign language, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can have all the data in the world, and it may be beneficial, but if you don't have the eyes of an accountant, how would you know what the ledgers mean? You can have all the data, and then that's like you said, you gotta ask. So that's when you need to get someone with experience, someone with a subject matter expert, which, like we were talking about earlier today, niching things down, because you want to find someone that has a specialty in what you need.
Exactly.
You don't go to somebody that's a specialty in scheduling if your problem is that your mindset is messed up, right? They can be telling you, oh, well, maybe on Mondays, usually people need this, and on Tuesdays, usually people need, but you don't even understand the concepts to even know that you need that. So you have to have the right lenses on you in order to be able to see what you need to see. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up there. But I kind of want to do this. So I want to kind of spin it a little bit, right?
Let's do it.
With two things. I have a few questions, kind of rapid fire questions, just to kind of pick your brain on them. I want to kind of hear your first answer. You don't have to really expound on them unless you feel inspired to do so. And then from there, I kind of want to give you the floor to kind of speak on what you have going on, the business ventures that you have going on, the podcast. Give you your time to be able to do that, and then we'll kind of wrap it up from there. But yeah. So for you, I kind of feel like I know where you're going to go with this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's stronger to you, fear or love?
Love.
Okay.
Absolutely.
When it comes to your friendships, do you want their trust or their loyalty?
I want your trust. I want your trust. All right. Loyalty could be attached to a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? You could be loyal in a certain aspect, and then as soon as we have a disagreement, that loyalty is tarnished for that area.
Fleeting. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you trust, I could trust somebody who's consistent. Again, going back to the enemies, I love my enemies. They're not really enemies to me. For one, you help me improve. You show me where I'm lacking. You show me what I don't have. You know what I'm saying? And you're honest with me. So I love my enemies, but then you help me with my own accountability. You help me in so many ways, just being brutally honest from your perspective, and I could take that.
Right.
So, and I can trust a person who's consistent. So I trust them to be who they are. And that's why you find, like you said, you find somebody that you can talk to about a certain thing. You don't go to everybody about every problem.
Absolutely.
If you have a specific problem that you know what type of motivation that you're going to need, what type of camaraderie that you're going to need, and that communication, you're going to go to a certain person.
Specific.
You know
I mean, it's about having specialists. I mean, if you drive a Lamborghini, you're not going to Jiffy Lube to get your oil changed.
Exactly.
They work on all types of cars. Why would you go to, if you have a car that you feel is unique, right? You don't see these that often. You want to go to somebody that they work on. That's what they do.
They're specialized.
You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to take a certain level of time with you. They're going to tell you about things that you should be aware of for your vehicle versus coming to do something that they would do with any car, right? So it's the same thing you want to treat with your life, your friends, your relationships that you get into.
Absolutely.
One of the things I bring up is that relationships and friendships, they have that word in it, ship.
Yep.
So they're supposed to take you to a destination. Sometimes those ships are sinking. Now, you can either take self-inventory and you can say, you know what, I need to repair here. I need to work on the motor. I need to do this. I may need to get some different people on this ship to do some work. I may need to reevaluate the staff. And then there's also ships that are going in the direction that you want them. They may be going in the wrong direction. You have to take that time to direct that ship to where it's supposed to go. And you have to be concerned about who you get on the ship with.
Exactly. And some ships sink.
They do?
Some ships sink. Some ships they were supposed to get you that far. Maybe you came to this and now you got to tender to another ship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to dock that one.
You got to dock that one.
And some of them don't make it to. Some of them you got to just jump off of it.
They're not prepared for the arduous journey ahead.
What I'm saying? You
know what I mean?
I'm saying? So
you got to go for another vessel that's more prepared for.
Correct.
That could take the swells that's coming.
Absolutely. And not every vessel is for everybody.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? You may have a lot of cargo. You may have a lot of baggage with you. And if you just jump on a raft, you're still going to sink. And the raft could be the strongest one in the world, but it wasn't built to carry your luggage.
Cargo.
It wasn't built to carry all of that baggage that you brought with you on this trip. Yes. You may need to get a cruise liner. You see what I'm saying? But you have to figure that out for yourself. Exactly. And you're going to go through some turmoil to figure it out.
Right.
But at the end of it, you're going to get to your destination if that's what you want. That's your goal.
Absolutely.
So another question for you. And this one is kind of it's really kind of open to your interpretation.
Yeah.
Would you rather someone that only supports you when you're wrong or someone that doesn't appreciate you when you're right?
Would I rather somebody who only supports me when I'm wrong or doesn't appreciate me when I'm right? I can tell you from experience, I'd rather have the one who doesn't appreciate me when I'm right. And that's through experience. Because, again, misery loves company. So you can know I'm wrong and you could be a silent hater, you know what I mean?
Facts.
And you could want wrong for me. Like you see that I'm blessed, you see that things are happening, moving for me, man. I just want this person to stop for a minute.
Right.
And you can see that I'm going to make a decision that's going to cause me some turmoil.
Correct.
And you're going to support me with that because it support me when I'm wrong.
Right.
Also, again, I don't like yes men. I don't need yes men. I need men that's going to hold me accountable. I need people that's going to hold me accountable. So if you see that that's a wrong decision, you see that I'm about to do something wrong, then I need you to be able to say, yo, that's not for you. Business that I know, from what I know of you, that's not for you. Why would you make that decision? You're better than that. I've been in that situation, man, just being transparent. I had a situation where a guy bigger than me put his hands on my sister this year, and I saw it was in public, it was on video, it was recorded. So I saw it, and I went bloodshot. I went blank. I went and got loaded up. I gotta find this dude. And the most hood dude that's in my camp was like, yo. At first he was like, you gotta do what you gotta do, but that ain't you, bro. And he had to remind me. I'm like, yo, that is me, obviously. I'm about it. I'm about it. Like, I'll take it to that extent. And it's
family,
all,
right?
It's all through love. I would defend what I love. And everybody in my community I love. So I'm a big protector.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that mishap stemmed from another miscommunication. It's usually as simple as that, but it can escalate. So when I saw that, I just automatically went into protective. You know what I'm saying? Loaded up, went to the right people. I got them people. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Big artillery. It was like, yo, this shit look crazy. And even I was riding like, this is crazy.
Right, that's real though.
Like, but it's real. I was on it, and I was like, I'm thankful that I didn't see dude, because I wouldn't have taken the time to actually think that out.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So he was out of Dodge for that one day, and that's all it took for me to calm down and talk to the right person to say, yeah, you're in the wrong. Like, understand your emotion and why you would feel the way. But then going back to the accountability, what did sis do? To put herself in that predicament. Right. Turns out she's in some other stuff that nobody knows about. His sister, it's too much information. His sister wound up ODing off of something, and she didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? So he was lashing out. Like, the only thing that he could link was my sister, even though she said she didn't have nothing to do with it. Who knows? Right. Even though she said she don't have nothing to do with it, who knows? So his sister is gone. I'm hurt because my sister was physically, you know what I'm saying? Right. But his sister is gone. Imagine his pain. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Perspective.
Right. So, not justifying what he did, not justifying what she did, had to go into the accountability zone and realize it's not my problem. Hard truth. It's not my problem. What did you do? How could you reprimand? It's your, go into accountability for yourself. You know what I mean? Step back. I was like, as long as you not in no danger, you feel any other danger, any other presence, somebody coming to your house or something like that, I got you. But other than that, you need to start making better decisions for yourself.
Absolutely. That's beautiful right there, man. Man. So that takes me to, I guess we can kind of say the next thing that I kind of want to touch on is, for you, what drives you the most, your purpose or your passion?
Definitely the purpose.
Okay.
And what I learned about purpose is most purposes are in the same realm. Purpose is just, what value can I present to the next person? You know, how can I serve? Purpose is in the servitude. So that's why I heard your purpose. I heard Paul's purpose. I know my purpose. It's all, what can we do for somebody else?
Absolutely. Servitude, like you said.
And that drives it. And you can be passionate about, you can take any route of passion to serve your purpose. So purpose is more important, because you can take any avenue that you're passionate in to align with your purpose. Now you got fulfillment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's beautiful, man. So, yeah, you handled that. You handled the rapid fire questions, man. Great. I like that you expounded on them. I think I always like to leave it open. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You can just kind of boom, and I have questions for days. But with that being said, though, man, I want to kind of give you that opportunity to kind of share my platform with you to be able to tell the people about what you have going on, how to get in touch with you, how to see your content, what your content is. Yeah, take the floor, my brother.
Absolutely, I appreciate you, Wes, for this, man. Silent Sound, shout out to Silent Sound,
Indeed.
Silent Conversations podcast, man. I love it. I like the music too.
Thank you,
and I'm
bro.
gonna need to hear more of that. You know what I mean? So how you can get in contact with me? My platform is AIM, Always Improving the Mind. I also have a skincare product. It's called Shine. And that's the entrepreneur side, because I'm big on self-care, obviously, and that's inward and outwardly. So this is a deep moisturizer. So you can find that on Instagram, or you can go to shinecareproducts.com and see what that's about. You subscribe to the email list, and you get 10% off forever. And I do discounts and stuff through the emails all the time, but it's only specifically for the email, so get on that list.
Okay.
But my passion, my purpose is tied into AIM, Always Improving the Mind. And I'm a mindset coach. So with that, I want to target the young entrepreneur, because I know that that's someone who's looking for improvement, who wants to do better, because they know that doing better for self is going to transcend into doing better for the business.
Absolutely.
You're looking to learn.
Absolutely.
Right? You're willing to do the work. And I want to talk to anybody who's been in business from 1 to 5 years. So, mindset coach, I put out all types of content towards improving the mind. I'm writing a book right now, so that'll be coming. But I also got templates and resources. Like I got a goal setting template. I got a 24-hour calendar. To really put things in perspective. A lot of people, their main excuse is, I don't have time. You have time. The bum has the same amount of time in a day as the billionaire. Which one you want to be? You know what I mean? So I have resources, and I want y'all to look at Always Improving the Mind on Instagram and on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube, because I'm putting out more dedicated content on there. I go live on Instagram every Monday. I do a Mindset Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So follow the Instagram for that, and you can contact me through the Instagram DM. You can comment on any of the videos on YouTube. I put the info and all of the descriptions on each video on YouTube. You can also email alwaysimprovingminds@gmail.com. And yeah, man, I want to talk. We can't have community without communication. So you got to be able to talk to one another, no matter how small you might think it is. Don't worry about pricing or none of that, because before we get to the end of that, we need to make sure that we fit for each other. And that's only going to come from a conversation.
Absolutely.
And I want to also shout out the FMF podcast, because we're doing great things with that. That podcast was created to push the culture forward. And it's a men's podcast for the men. It's targeted to the men, but it's not limited for nobody. Everybody can benefit from it, and everybody who has tuned into it. So FMF podcast on YouTube, simple as that. It's FMF space podcast on YouTube. And you can look up the FMF podcast on Anchor, the same platform that you're using with Silent Conversations. And I also want to shout out again, you, Wes. Y'all, if y'all hear from my side, follow this guy. Get in tune with him. As you can see, we always improving the mind. And a lot of these things I never discussed with other people or outwardly. So for him to be able to open me up, that's powerful. All right? That's powerful. So get in tune with Silent Conversations podcast as well.
I appreciate that, brother. Hey, man, I definitely appreciate that, man. it's always I don't know what the word is, but it's definitely is always grateful to hear when you hear someone that's hitting on the head that what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of get down this path of I'm not sure if this is working. You know what I'm saying? We was kind of talking about this before we started the podcast. I would say I started this thing in 2020.
Yeah.
I did 3 episodes, and it was just me in the car while I was, riding, just talking to myself, just trying to build myself up, really.
Yeah.
But I was just so frustrated with the fact that I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't know how to do it. But I just knew I just needed to do something, right?
Yeah.
And then getting to this point where I'm at now, and then being able to have impact. I think that's always what I always wanted to do, just impact people.
Yeah.
In a positive sense, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think I definitely appreciate those words for sure, man. It just lets me know to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have all the time I come across certain people that are like, I heard this episode, and man, I just appreciate it. and for me, it's like, man, I didn't even know that
it
you were
was
listening.
getting out there.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know you were
me?
listening, and it's just like it's beautiful, man. So like I said, I appreciate you as well, brother. Like again, all of this information will be in the description. I'm gonna have all the tags in the descriptions when y'all go on Anchor, on Apple, everything, Spotify, on the YouTube. I'm gonna have all the links. We'll be able to get this. I'm gonna definitely stay on top of that, man. I appreciate you, brother, man.
I appreciate you.
Is there anything else you wanted to say before you leave? Because I'm gonna kind of wrap it up with a quote, and then we're gonna be there. But any last words you like to give to people? Any last advice or anything that you want people to know to get on their journey?
Absolutely, man. Start making decisions. If you haven't already, start making decisions and put a goal behind it. A goal and a plan is not the same thing. A goal is the destination, and a plan is how you're going to get there, the route that you take. Understand that the plans may change, but the goal doesn't. You know what I mean? So start setting some goals for yourself. And your goals should be big enough that they scare you at least a little bit.
Yes.
You might not know if it's attainable or not, but that's where you're going to find the journey, the love, the process, you know what I mean, the progress, all within that area. All right? And don't be afraid to reach out because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I again, thank you for that. I just want to close up, man, with a quote. I always try to just share some good words. I appreciate you sharing as well. And one of the things that I wanted to make a common thread for this particular episode was self-identity. So what I would like to leave on this particular note is once you begin to identify yourself, you want to consistently, intentionally, and always be reliable when it comes to who you identify yourself as, because the only thing that can come from that is success and growth. So staying consistent, staying intentional, and staying reliable will only lead to growth and success. So everyone, definitely appreciate you tapping in. This is the Silent Conversations podcast with Silent Sound. Again, always improving the mind. Trey, I appreciate you pulling up with me, brother, and we signing out. It's peace, positivity, and perspective. Make sure you always seek peace, share positivity, and share your perspective, man. We out.
Out.
Peace.